Good Monday morning. Welcome into Morning Jocks. Damian Mitchell alongside John Saybear. Conrad will return on Tuesday. As we know, he's moved, getting some things squared away. But hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. Let me go ahead and tell you, start Saturday. Saturday was fool's gold. It felt like spring. We're touching 70 degrees. It's a great feeling. Then Sunday, yesterday was a little bit cooler, and then we wake up this morning, and I'm seeing now temperature says 28 degrees here in Birmingham, but the wind chill is that of 15, so the feel like temp is about 15 degrees. But we're not going to complain. Brighter days are ahead. Warmer days are ahead. Just got to deal through these next couple days, and of course, weather and rain and such in the forecast moving forward this week. But hopefully, again, everybody had a wonderful weekend. We had some exciting action over the weekend. Of course, Auburn and Alabama hoops both getting back into the swing of things. Auburn with a big win over Kentucky. Alabama handling their business against LSU, a little bit close for comfort, but they came out with a win. And I think as we get closer into the flip of the calendar, when we get into March and tournament play, it's all about finding dubs. It doesn't matter how you get it done. Yeah, you want to feel confident and just blow everybody out. But I think at this point, survive and advance. But we'll start with the Winter Olympics. It capped off yesterday with the U.S. I think one of the better performances for the United States in the Winter Olympics. We ended up with 33 medals total. It's second behind the Norwegians. Norway brought in 41. But I think that the one sport that we really we went out there and performed at a high level was hockey, because hockey, the men's hockey team, well, we know the women's hockey team brought home gold a couple days ago over the Canadians, and we set up Sunday morning between the U.S. and the Canadians as well. And the U.S. men's national hockey team brought home gold again in overtime. Again, it's been very interesting to see. And again, I'm not a big hockey guy, but anything that has the U.S. representatives representing at a high level, it was fun. It was fun to wake up Sunday morning and see just an exciting matchup, a physical matchup, and the U.S. ends up taking the gold medal in men's hockey. 2-1 over Canada. Jack Hughes with the game-winning goal there in overtime. So we do a clean sweep over the country up north. So we handle business there on the hockey front. And again, the U.S. great performance there in the Winter Olympics, bringing home 33 medals and counting, and 12 gold medals, 12 silver, and 9 bronze. But again, that was an exciting matchup between the U.S. and Canada yesterday for the men's national hockey team. And again, the Winter Olympics, fun, enjoyed it, and they're going to the French Alps in 2030. So that should be interesting to see where we go from here. But going back to the hardwood, of course, here in the state of Alabama, two of our SEC teams being represented over the weekend. Auburn returns back to Neville Arena, and you're in the 5-game losing streak. You are itching to just find a way especially for seeding purposes in the NCAA tournament. A tough loss on the road against Mississippi State last Wednesday. And no matter how sloppy it may have been, no matter how questionable some of the fouls in that game ended up being, nonetheless, Auburn gets a win against Kentucky. And no matter how you slice it up, this is an important win for Auburn at home in Neville. And listen, it could have gone either way. It was a back and forth game, especially late. It felt that Kentucky was itching away. They got within one. And a lot of talk has been with the first name, Keyshawn. Keyshawn Hall, of course, was suspended against Arkansas, had to sit out a game. He comes back, and Auburn still doesn't find a winning way. But how about Keyshawn Murphy, of all people, for the Auburn Tigers, really stepping up where his team needed him the most? He ends up with 25 points, 10 rebounds. He had a big three there in the second half. But Auburn knocks off Kentucky 75-74. And again, and the biggest question mark I had about Auburn is, if your two main guys aren't going, who is going to step up and get you those points? And Saturday it was Keyshawn Murphy. Taha Pettiford, we know they're the main guy, and Keyshawn Hall for Auburn, both not really the best of games scoring wise. Keyshawn Hall only had 10 points. Taha Pettiford with 9. Really struggled from the floor, but Keyshawn Murphy gives you 25. Goes down for 14 field goals, 6 for 6 at the free throw line. Again, had 1 3-pointer. He made it, and also had 10 rebounds. 8 of them on the offensive side. He was attacking the glass. Elijah Freeman off the bench giving you 11. Overall, for Auburn, it didn't matter how you got it. You just needed a win, and this is an important step for them moving forward, because again, this is a Kentucky team that's firmly in the tournament. You've seen them anywhere between 5, 6, 7 seed going into March Madness. So I think for Auburn, it's going to help you. Now the backstretch, again, there's going to be some difficult games. At this point, you can't afford to lose against the LSUs of the world. Again, no offense to LSU, but you can't afford any of these losses on this backstretch with Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama. I think it's, if it happens, it happens. But I think that you have to end up going 3-1 the rest of the way out. The last 4 games for Auburn. But again, Stephen Pearl, you can tell on the sideline, there's a sense of desperation. Like, there is a sense of urgency from this Auburn team of, man, we just got to get one. It doesn't matter how it looked on Saturday, but they ended up closing the deal. And again, when your superstar players aren't necessarily stepping up, but you get a Keyshawn Murphy giving you a double-double, you'll take it any way you can possibly get it. So kudos to Auburn handling business against Kentucky, set up a matchup with Oklahoma tomorrow night on the road in Norman. And then Alabama. Now, LSU, they've only won 2 SEC games. And not to say they haven't been competitive in a lot of them, but Alabama is the better basketball team. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. They ended up knocking off LSU 90-83. And the game was really in Alabama's control, but it did get tight in moments. And at halftime, Alabama only had a 3-point lead. Kind of, I'm not going to say they were going through the motions, but they just didn't go out and dominate. So, and not to say that they're, again, this isn't a bump in the road or I have any worries about Alabama, but there are things that you want to clean up as you get close to SEC tournament and NCAA tournament time, where you want to feel confident that your team is hitting their stride in the right moments. But I think for Alabama, you got 17 points from Aiden Holloway. LeBaron Fallon, he struggled at times. And I don't think he was necessarily aggressive enough. And a little bit of it could have been that, okay, he saw early on his shots weren't falling, so he was just like, all right, I'm going to do what I need to do, distribute the ball, gave you 5 assists, and just get everybody else involved. Aiden Sherrill gives you 12. Amari Allen, the do-it-all guy for Alabama, gives you 16. London Jemison, who's really starting to step up his play the past couple of weeks, shaking into the starting lineup, he gives you 12. And, of course, Latrell Wright, so coming off the bench, giving you 14. So, all in all, for Alabama, it wasn't the best of performances. You shot 43% from the field. You go 10 from 30 from the three-point line. But I think a lot of their damage was done at the free throw line as they go 30 for 37. And really, that second half, I think the referees, again, they call it tight, but everything isn't necessarily a foul. But it kind of ended up being a foul fest there in the second half. It really made that game a lot longer than it needed to be. But Alabama, I think they got up to, the lead got up to about 14 was the biggest separation that they had. But shout out to LSU, though, for continuing to fight. Sutton had a good game for LSU, giving you 21. Pablo Tamba gives you 10 points as well. But I think all in all for Alabama, it's the same thing I talked about Auburn. It didn't matter how you got it done. You got it done, because I think it would be much more puzzling coming in on this Monday having a discussion about Alabama if they would have lost the basketball game. But it wasn't your cleanest effort, and you still won by 7 on the road in the SEC.
Auburn was in more danger of this than Alabama, but neither team could really afford the loss this weekend. And while LSU gave Alabama a fight, we all expected Alabama to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
We thought Auburn could win the game, but now Kentucky, I think this is now their 3rd straight loss or 4th. They've had a couple of losses in a row now, so somebody was going to win that game and start feeling good about themselves. So that that one was going to be desperate and going to be a good bit of a fight with Alabama. That was a game that, okay, like, look, you showed why not only you're a tournament team, you're a team that is, I don't want to say be a force to be reckoned with, but one of those squads that, okay, we kind of need to make sure we keep our eyes out, because it could have been very easy after getting the win against Arkansas to go on the road to LSU and just stumble. It's like, okay, we stubbed our toe. It's okay. It's fine. That was 5 in a row going into that one. Yeah, we're bound to lose one. Okay, but no, like they made sure they got that one, and I will give them a lot of credit, because a good number of teams that, especially against an LSU squad like that is probably, I doubt it's going to make the tournament. I mean, the 2 wins in conference, I highly, highly doubt it, unless they go on a run in Atlanta.
Right.
So, but again, right there, this was not that Mississippi State is daunting, but this is a quintessential trap game. Like, you just came off the emotion of a very, very good, a ranked win that's really going to help you out. Now you go on the road, and yeah, chances are you probably lose. So kudos to both teams, especially Auburn, for stopping that skid. And as much as we've been saying, especially for Auburn, that just get that one. Like, all it takes is one, and make sure you get the win. Just get one. That's all we need. Here's the thing: we need another one now. like that was great.
Right.
You win. You got that win against Kentucky. It's going to look pretty good. I don't know how great it will look, but it's a good win to stop a 5-game losing streak. Keep in mind, Auburn had won 4 straight going into that, but now you got Oklahoma. Now you got Oklahoma on the road. A team like this is, in essence, I know the caliber and everything is different. This is in essence where Alabama was a couple of days ago. You got a good win. Now followed up by going on the road and getting the win.
Yep.
And that's going to tell me like what this Auburn squad is. If they go to Norman and get that one, it's like, okay, like I personally don't know if Auburn's a tournament team. They probably are. I don't know. I just get the sense like they just don't feel like they are.
Right.
I mean, I guess they'll have the record. They just don't feel like it. But if they're going to get a win like this, like, okay, you know what? I'll start to believe.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing for Auburn. It's the inconsistency that we've seen from this team all season long, where it's the team that goes down to the Swamp, beats Florida, the defending national champions, a place that you hadn't won since, 2003, and you find a way to beat them. You find a way to beat St. John's. Like, you have great wins on your resume. It's just, man, during that 5-game losing stretch, it's how can you get back to that? How can you find that consistency again? And I think for Stephen Pearl in his first year, I'm not going to sit here and bat the horn and say, like, he's an amazing coach. I'm also not going to say that he's one of the worst coaches in the SEC. Yeah, okay, it may be unfortunate. Not going to say unfortunate. It may be a unique situation that he is the head coach of Auburn, but he is. And I think that he has this team at moments overachieving, and then he has moments where they're underachieving. Because when you look at the talent that they have, it's no question that these guys can play. It's just putting it all together game in and game out.
You know what it feels like? They're a recent football coach.
Yeah.
But at least with Hugh Freeze, there was, I don't want to say there's an excuse, but it's like, okay, you shouldn't be, we're close. All we got to do, like, you've been here for some time. You've been a head coach for some time. You should know, what it takes to get those close wins. You should know what it takes to impart on your players to be able to find what it takes to get that win. Stephen Pearl, I'm willing to give some grace because this is his first year as a head coach. And I think, all in all, he's doing probably about what we would expect. A team that, yes, he had a fairly loaded team, not a substantially loaded, but he was like, okay, like there's something I can work with. He had a good but probably not great team, and that's what they look like right now, a good but not great team, one that's, I guess, technically in the tournament, but probably fighting for, if they lose a couple of, they're going to be fighting for a spot for, and that this is about where we expected them to be. So it's a bit not surprising, but it's kind of funny to see Auburn basketball emulating what Auburn football has done over the last little bit. Now, however, I do think Stephen Pearl can get this done.
Right.
So I fully expect them to, with their Final Four, they go 3-1. I'm like, all right, you know what? That's cool. But I just don't. I think they really got to get this one on. It's tomorrow. Excuse me. On tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point too, the biggest thing for Auburn is you have to follow this up. Like you it's hard not to believe in this team when they have wins like Saturday and wins on the road against Florida. Being beating St. John's early on and playing Houston tough and like it's just so hard to pinpoint because when they're on, they're on. It's just it may not be the prettiest of ways. Like you're just not going out there and banging on the block with a Janai Broom where you have just that one guy that can go out there and dominate. And again, I think this is important for Keyshawn Murphy for his presence to have been felt here on the backstretch. Like this is the moment as you get into March of just like we need who is the best team, like who's clicking at the right time of hey, Tahad Pettiford's shot's not falling or Keyshawn Hall's shot's not falling. Who's going to step up and continue this mantle of we're going to figure this thing out by any means necessary? Because again, at this point, it's not about style points. It's just about wins. That's all it comes down to. So we'll continue to break down where Auburn feels or what do they feel like a tournament team moving forward. Alabama, of course, UAB gets a big win on the road at Memphis, continuing what is a unique trend in their season of they do better outside of Birmingham. So it's a unique spot to be in as far as basketball here in the state of Alabama. Of course, want to get your reaction on the JOX phone lines, text line 205-834-9450. Just your reaction to everything this weekend, Winter Olympics. So much more to get to on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 621 here on Morning Jocks. Damien and John here with you on this Monday morning. Conrad back tomorrow. Hopefully everything went smooth with his move. I know he had a good 2 days, Friday and Saturday. The weather was perfect, nice. Sunday, yesterday it was a little bit chillier. And then this morning it's like, okay, yeah, it's still winter. It is still winter. I guess Groundhog's Day. I guess that groundhog does know what's going on. He did say it was going to be 6 more weeks of winter. But they shouldn't have teased us with Saturday. Mother Nature shouldn't have teased us with Saturday. Because
he didn't say which 6 weeks.
Right.
He just told you 6 more weeks.
I'm telling you, man. But overall, exciting weekend, of course, the Winter Olympics. The men's hockey team ends up bringing home gold after the women's knocked off Canada earlier last week. I mean, if you're Canada, you gotta feel a little hurt, man. It's like, dang, this is our sport, and we came up short.
If you wondered what the difference is between like a sport and a game and an athletic contest or whatever, look at or just imagine yourselves as a Canadian men's or women's hockey team. In most of the other Olympic events, it's not what Cole considers a sport. It's not a head-to-head something like you're competing and doing something and you're being scored or doing by time or whatever. And if you finish second, that just means, hey, somebody was just better than you. They were slightly faster. They were maybe a bit quicker, whatever. Those half-pipe jumps, whatever it was. Maybe it was a race. Someone was just a slightly bit better than you. So you won second. You won a silver medal. You are probably going to cherish that forever.
Right.
The Canadian hockey team also won silver. How do you think they feel? Like they lost the game. They won a silver medal, but it's like I imagine how that feels.
Yeah.
Like if you think about, I mean, it's got to be devastating. I don't know if they still do this. I know they did for a long time, but I feel like maybe they kind of stopped. For the longest time, the losers of the Super Bowl, they got a ring too.
Dang.
Yeah, I don't know if they still do that. I feel like they kind of stopped because it was like, well, I mean, we don't want it. Like we
right.
Like we wanted the trophy. We want like the winners get the ring. Why do we get one? Like I don't want this. Like, it's just a reminder of what we couldn't do, and you could see it on a lot of the Canadians' faces. Like just as like, hey, thank you. That's great. And maybe 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50 years down the line, they will appreciate having a silver medal in the Olympics.
Right.
But yesterday was not that day.
It was not that day.
Like, we lost the game. We came up short. We were right there.
Like you're on the podium. Like you.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
You got a silver medal. And
yeah.
It's like, nah.
And it just doesn't. It probably will feel good. It just doesn't right now. And that, I think, also encapsulates the difference between what is a sport and what is not, because there was some even figure skating, even in some of those short track, whatever, speed skating races where everyone's kind of clustered together, but you're all like, it can get kind of physical, but it's whoever's the fastest.
Right.
And if he ever gets, okay, fine. He was, slightly faster than me. There's nothing I could do. She was just better, but I still got second. I'm second in the world. I'm happy to take that. If that's the case, then that may not be a sport. But Canada gave their all to everything they absolutely could. Honestly, I think they played better than the Americans. Watching every single second of that game, America came out strong. They came out hot. They were doing pretty well. Then partway through the second, it felt like they were out of gas. And Canada was just putting it on them. We say shoot more, score more. Canada doubled them up in terms of shooting. They were out shooting the Americans, and it felt like every time someone on Team USA would get the puck or something, there were 2 Canadian players there. But so America found a way to win.
That's it. That's
and
it.
you get the silver medal. It's got to be tough. It's got to be tough.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, for America, we'll gladly take it. Of course, gold medal. And again, it's another thing to have, say if you had gotten blown out in regulation, this was overtime. So it was it. It was winner take all in the first goal. It's whoever makes it, you are the champion. It is what it is. But kind of to your point too, in individual sports or events, like you said, like if I finish second behind Usain Bolt, like there ain't nothing I could really do.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas in a team game, it's, oh man, I could have done something in the first half or like in the first period or in the third. It's like, man, how did we let this one get away? And it kind of eats at you. And then again, you got to sit on this for 4 years. Like you kind of, I mean, of course we have Canadians that play in the NHL. You know, you look at your teammates and, you know, like, oh man, you remember in the Olympics? It's like, oh yeah. Yeah, I remember what y'all did.
Honestly, what's more wild, a lot of them play a normal NHL game like Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, right. They got to jump right back
you
into
did all that. You're a hero for our country. Got to go back to work. What?
Yeah.
You only get a week off? Nah, man.
And
you got to get back.
The men's hockey team brings home gold for the first time since 1980.
Correct. Like this is, as much as we've idolized that one and looked up to that moment, it just dawned on me when I was watching it yesterday. I wasn't alive for that. Like I'm 44. Like I know you weren't, but I wasn't. Like I was born in like 1982, so it was
right,
just before me. But still, it's like as long ago as that was, and as much as like that was only the third time America has won gold in that event. And as much as you think back, it's like, oh, okay, well that seemed. I will go back and actually look at, because I did that. Look at how many times, like early on when it started in 1920, I want to say it was USA and Canada. That was the first gold medal game.
Wow.
I think it may have been the first two. Like United States has been kind of there.
Yeah.
It's just over the last little bit, we've just found ways to not be there. To be fair, we were there in 2010, I think it was, and Sidney Crosby kind of just came out and was like, no, thanks, guys. This is mine. So America's been kind of close, but to only have done it 3 times for a squad that has perennially been there, or at least been in the conversation, kudos to them, because it was just wild to watch.
It was indeed. But hey, we'll take it. We shall take it. Also, just going over the weekend, going back to what we discussed in UAB basketball, they knock off Memphis 78-67. And John brought up the
known,
stat.
like it was on the road.
Yeah, John brought up this stat during the break. It's crazy as it may seem. UAB has not lost a conference game on the road, but they only have one win at home in conference.
They can't win at home. Grant, to be fair, they did win one. They won, I think it was Tulsa or Tulane, or it was Rice a couple weeks ago. That's who it was. Like somehow beat Rice. I mean, somehow. I mean, they're a better team than Rice. But of all the other games like they've lost at home, they found ways to lose at home.
But on the road
in conference, yeah, they're literally undefeated.
And that's wild. And also, the American Championships will be held in Birmingham.
All right then.
So if I'm Andy Kennedy, it's probably like, well, it's in Legacy, so technically you're not playing in Bartow.
No.
So do you say, hey, during the American Championship week, we're going to go to Atlanta, we're going to go to Nashville,
Montgomery, something.
Stay for a couple days.
Yeah.
And when we
treat it like a road one.
Yeah, if you treat it like a road game, but understand like, oh yeah, you're going to be back in the city of Birmingham. It's just such unique. And like, I don't know, like I've never seen something like this. Like that's a stat that we'll be looking up 20 years from now. I'll be like, hey, what team was undefeated on the road in conference, but only had one conference win in during that season? It's like, what? But it makes it's so puzzling. But also, again, it kind of just goes to show you that, man, the American Conference, UAB has a chance to win this thing. Like
absolutely.
They're talented enough to do it. It's just, man, it's very similar to Auburn. Where do we find the consistency? And I mean, if you've heard Andy Kennedy, I know you hear him here on JOX pre and post game. Like he is 100% transparent about his squad, and he knows the identity of his team. And even he is just puzzled of, I don't know how we can go on the road and beat these teams. Because again, anybody will tell you it is hard to win on the road in any sport, like in anything. But to be undefeated right now in conference play, but then at home, it's just, what is going on? But again, they knock off Memphis in the Battle of the Bones, part 2, 78-67. But man, it's such a weird time to be in. But also, we could potentially see, we could see 3 teams in the NCAA tournament, or we could possibly only see 1 in Alabama. So it's going to be interesting how the last couple weeks of the season go, leading into, I mean, everybody's favorite time is March Madness, man, because again, we'll see these teams. Tournament play, and I keep harping on it. It's, you just have to be better than that team that day.
Yep.
Does not matter what it doesn't matter what the record was in the regular season. It is all about what you do that day. And I think that's what's so fun about tournament time, because we can go down the list of teams that, Florida Gulf Coast, about 10 years ago, they were dunk city. Like, it was a 15 seed out of nowhere, was just out here throwing lobs. They had a deep run. Was it Loyola Chicago a couple years ago, with Sister Jean making that miraculous run. We've seen, and we saw Butler end up making it to national championship, and Gordon Hayward was. I remember they did a sports science on that full court shot that he had. If it was like, hey, if he had released it 0.3 seconds earlier, that this would have gone. If he would have had the certain angle, like, it was just crazy. But this is the fun part of the calendar, man, when we get into tournament play. But we'll continue on the other side. 205-834-9450. See your text messages recapping what's going on this past weekend. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX. 6:36 here on Morning Jocks. Damian and John here with you to the top of the hour as we get you set for McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Of course, USA men's hockey brings home gold, both Auburn and Alabama. Get back on the winning side of things, especially for Auburn after a 5-game losing streak. Ends up knocking off Kentucky 75-74. Alabama knocks off LSU 90-83. As they continue their winning streak, it has moved up to 6 games. UAB goes up to Memphis and knocks off the Memphis Tigers 78-67. Also had a couple people text in. This is the first time UAB has beaten Memphis in FedEx Forum since 1999. So it's been a while. But also it just continues the insane and bizarre season that UAB has had as they're undefeated in American Conference play on the road, but at home only has 1 win. But 205-834-9450, your text message, your calls always welcome here on Morning Jocks. Robert texts in and says, as an Alabama fan, I don't want to see a Cinderella team come out of its region. Alabama, if it's sharp offensively, can just be average defensively, can get to a Final Four if it gets a good draw. Yeah, I've always felt as though the way Alabama plays and their style, to me, they're always going to be a problem because if they get hot, they can beat anybody. It doesn't matter who it is on the other side because you're going to be basically matching 2s and 3s. Like if they're continue to hit 3s at a high level, a lot of teams have to play at their pace. And I don't know if there's another team quite like Alabama where it is a premium on getting to the rim or shooting a 3. There's no in between. I think that for a lot of teams, I mean, because Nate Oates will definitely, I mean, he harps on it defensively. Like he wants those guys to be gritty on the defensive side because of how fast they play offensively. It's, the more defensive stops that we have, the more chances we have at the basket on the offensive side of the ball and the pace in which they play. But I think that, what we're seeing from Aiden Sherrill the past couple games, he played out of his mind against Arkansas, followed that up with LSU. Just his aggressiveness down there on the block, I think is really starting to show. And I think that for Alabama, that's kind of what you need to see. Amari Allen starting to step up and do just about everything for the Crimson Tide, both offensively and defensively. And I think Aiden Holloway, I mean, he goes in spells at times. Same with LeBaron Fallon, that we know once they get hot, they can take a game over. But I think there's a lot of things that a lot of these teams have to deal with Alabama. And then Latrell Wrightsell, who, accepted coming off the bench and still going out there giving you, I mean, he had 27 points the other night coming off the bench. So I think that Alabama identity-wise is going to be a problem for just about anybody. Jamie texted in talking about Stephen Pearl. He says Stephen Pearl is in over his head. He is not his daddy. His daddy had a unique way of handling players and handling situations. Stephen Pearl needed to have coached at a smaller school first. He'll never make it at Auburn. Now, I'm not in any way defending Stephen Pearl, how he got the job. It is what it is. He is the sitting head coach. But I think Bruce Pearl's had a lot of success over his coaching career. But does anybody remember how it started for Bruce Pearl at all? Like,
no, that's conveniently forgotten.
Listen, let me tell you, his first year at Auburn, he was 15-20, 4-14 in the conference. The next year, he was 11-20, 5-13, finished 13th in the conference. Again, 2016, 2017, there's some wins that are vacated, whatever. Okay, understandable. They still finished 11th in the conference. Like, you have to be able to build these things. And I understand the way that the rosters are set up. Like, the transfer portal wasn't open for him back then. He was kind of taking over a program that was in the dumps. But again, it wasn't smooth. Like, he didn't just instantly jump into success. Like, it was a gradual process. And I think that's another thing, too. I think his society and the way college athletics is, it's immediate. Like, you have to have success as soon as you get there. No, it's success isn't always, like, it's not necessarily an escalator to the top. Like, it's kind of you got to take the stairs. Like, the road to success is always under construction, big dog. Like, again, the way that he got the head coaching job, you can have an issue with. It's, his dad inherited the program, and he to be honest, he left the program in better standing in which he found it, which is all coach. This is all you ever want to do when you leave something, is leave it better than what you found it. But also, it's you lost Janai Broome, who ended up being drafted in the NBA. There's no Jabari Smiths on that roster. There's no Walker Kesslers. Like, the team is not the same in which Bruce Pearl had it. Like, he doesn't have the same quality of players. Like, you look at this team, it's completely different. The only returning person is Todd Pettiford, and he's the only person that was returning from that Final Four squad that had, significant playing time. And right now, it's just a different squad. Keyshawn Hall, he transferred in. Keyshawn Murphy transferred in. Like, it's the roster and everything is different. And I do think the step up to head coach, it's massive for anybody stepping into that role. And again, I'm not going to defend Stephen Pearl. I think he's done about as good as a job as you possibly could for somebody that has zero head coaching experience. And again, this team went on the road and beat the defending national champions. No matter how you slice it up, he's got that on his resume. He's gone toe-to-toe with teams that were in the Final Four. He played all 4 Final Four teams from last season. The road, I mean, again, he was handed a pretty rough deck of cards, and he's trying his best to make the most out of it. You don't think he feels this pressure on top of what his father has done? Anybody that would have stepped up behind Bruce Pearl would have been like, hey, if Auburn ain't contending for a Final Four, it looks like a failure. But it's also, man, this is a whole different time.
By the way, he also did beat Arkansas early
in the season.
Yeah. And people will also, as much as this is not to knock Bruce Pearl, but you just only remember him as a coach that made Final Fours multiple times. To his credit, Auburn ain't never been, and he got there twice.
Right.
I'm not taking away, but what people are neglecting to remember is that outside of those years, what else did he do in the tournament?
It's brutal. Like,
he only won outside of the Final Four years, and I think he only won 2 other games, and most of those were he lost. When he lost as like a much higher ranked or seeded team.
Yeah, and it's again, like, this team, it looks nothing like it did last year, and that's another thing too. Bruce Pearl, he got Janai Broome to stay an extra year.
Yeah.
He had Chaney Johnson. Like, he had different style players that fit what he needed. And again, I think and I completely understand, that Steven was looked at as the defensive coordinator when he was coaching with his dad. Like, he was mostly the defensive guy. But now he can't necessarily focus on one side because he's the head coach. He has to do the roster management. There's a lot more things he has to take into an account. And again, I'm not making any excuses for him because, again, like, his dad looked at him as if he was equipped to take this team on. And again, this is his first time ever doing it. I think he's doing about as good as you possibly could. And again, I can understand you being frustrated with a loss to Mississippi State. Even when they were in Las Vegas, they got blowed out by Michigan. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking that, okay, well, this team may not be at that level, but they're somewhere in the realm because, again, like you said, they beat Arkansas at home. They went on the road and beat the defending national champions in Florida. Like, there are still signs of success that they're trending in the right way. It's just, man, it's tough. Like, it is extremely, extremely tough. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say, and again, you also have to think about this too. Outside of Tahad Pettiford returning, and it wasn't like Tahad Pettiford was looked at as just this basketball just guru, they don't have the style in which they played the past couple seasons with the Dylan Cardwells and, the Janai Broomes, where there's a presence of a big man. Not to say that Keyshawn Murphy can't get up to that level, because he showed Saturday that, hey, if he needs to, he can go out there and do it. He has the capability. But you also can't play that way. Like, he's not Janai Broome. He's not Dylan Cardwell. So there's just the identity of this team is completely different from what Bruce had on his way out. Like, it's just not the same. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and defend Stephen Pearl. You can have questions, you can have criticisms, but I do think that he deserves a little bit of some grace of, hey, yeah, the job may be big, but to even have Auburn in this position anyway is pretty commendable, at least in my opinion. Again, who's to say? And it's because, again, like, Nate Oates had to come in after Avery Johnson, and it was like, wow, like, this is night and day compared to what he had when Anthony Johnson was there. And the way that Avery Johnson, excuse me, how that team looked. And I mean, you go back to Anthony Grant years, like he was Nate Oates completely changed this thing. It was the hurry up, no huddle from the I formation, essentially, from football reference. Like he had to come in and just like, hey, we ain't gonna play like this, man. Let's get some shots up. Give me everything you got on defense. We can live and die on getting to the rim or shooting a three. That's the only thing that we gonna do. And it's shown to work. And you got some guys over the years to kind of flip that around. But we continue with your reaction. 205-834-9450. Phone line, text line, always open. Keep it locked right here on Morning Jogs. 6:51 here on Morning Jocks. Damian and John here with you for a few more moments as we get you set for McElroy and Kublik coming up at the top of the hour from 7 to 10 a.m. And then three-man front from 10 to 2. And after that, we have the Paul Feinbaum show from 2 to 6. So we're going to keep it locked here on Jocks all day long as we just take a trip and recap the weekend. Of course, men's national hockey team brings home gold. Both Alabama and Auburn get wins in SEC play as we get closer to March Madness. Let me tell you about our friends at Hometown Roofing and Restoration. Trust the experts for your roofing needs. Over 1,200 roofers in the Birmingham area. Make sure you can call somebody you can trust. Hometown Roofers is family-owned, grounded in faith, and community-oriented. Their customer satisfaction focuses with your needs in mind, so you can count on honest communication. Guys, the goal is to get it right the first time. If it's an insurance claim, call Hometown. They'll take the ball for you, so you don't have to worry about any of the red tape and back and forth with the insurance company. Only top quality materials. Hometown is certified with 2 of the best national brands of shingle, and they offer lifetime materials warranties. Financing is also available. Wonder if you have an aging roof or roof damage. Hometown offers free inspections rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can also handle siding, windows, gutters, and minor remodels. 205-984-4777 or visit ht-roofers.com. Again, that number is 205-984-4777, or you can visit their website at ht-roofers.com. Hometown Roofing and Restorations. Do it right the first time. Let's go to the phone lines before we get up out of here. Our buddy Pete from Talladega wants to talk this morning with us. What's going on, Pete?
Hey, Damian, I thought you were spot on with the assessment of Auburn basketball this year. I mean, I think they've, first-year coach, and I get frustrated with Stephen, Pearl sometimes too. But he coaches pretty much like his dad did. I get frustrated sometimes with a lack of timeouts when another team is making a run. It takes a close game and all of a sudden they're down 10 or 12 with no timeouts taken. No trying to break momentum. But that's just the way Bruce has always coached. I mean, you saw the same thing at Tennessee when he was there. You saw it before when he was at I can't remember, Wisconsin, Green Bay, or wherever it was he was at. You saw the exact same style of coaching. But and you're right, people tend to forget because he did go to 2 Final Fours that, they had some really good teams, but they also had some middle of the road teams, kind of middle of the pack teams. And typically, I think and I think it's just basketball, college basketball in general. When Bruce had really good teams, made Final Four runs, they were teams that had players that had played together, at least the core of them, for several years. Where you're talking about Janai and Dylan Cardwell and that group from last year, or the Bryce Brown, Jared Harper group that went, earlier in his career at Auburn. Those teams have played together for a long time, had 5th and 6th-year guys. Auburn is not a kind of a one-and-done school, although they had a couple of players that came in and played with those experienced guys that were one-and-dones. They're just, it's a place you're going to have to build some experience together.
Yep, man, we appreciate it, Pete. I think he hit it spot on. It's, again, man, like you got to remember, bro, like this is year 1. This is year 1.
Right, yeah, well. And let's also not forget, Bruce Pearl is a national champion. Like, he knows what it takes. And so, but it took him some time to get there.
Patience, man.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to exercise that in all aspects of your life.
Absolutely. Bama Hater, he texts in, he says, being an above-average three-point shooting team won't win a natty in basketball with below-average to below-average big man play. Great point guard play and big man play wins natties. Yep. Hey, I'm with you when you're right, big dog. Can't live and die by the 3. You got to have some of that big man presence. Ask Auburn. I mean, Janai Broome, he took that team to the Final Four. But that's do it for us, man. McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Those guys are up next.